You are listening to the Better 2 podcast with DM Needham. Hi guys, Donna here. Thanks for tuning into the Better 2 podcast. Today's guest is Paloma de la Hoz. She is a sex therapist, and well, yes, we do talk about sex. We also talk about her breakup that she had, but that was just really a teaser for the Better 2 moment because, ultimately, we didn't even really discuss that because we got into this whole conversation about sex and feminine empowerment and the big O and all the taboos that go with sex in this country and in this world. So if you are a little squeamish about sex talk, then this is not the episode for you. But if you're okay with it, then by gosh, listen to it because we do get a little blunt and a little honest. And we talk about the positive of sex and, the connections we have about sex. So I hope you guys enjoyed. This episode of the Better 2 podcast is brought to you by Kitty Mystic and DM Needham, author of My Days with the Dark Muse, as well as Love is Worth Waiting For. An afternoon at the pool changed Wes's life. When he saw Jen, he knew she was his always and forever. Most nights, Wes spent pursuing his dream of landing a record deal. With Jen looking up at him, he knew nothing would stop him. His dream was fast becoming a reality, until Mason Langford entered their world. While Wes was living his dream, he lost his heart. Now he wondered if he'd ever get her back. Available now, Love is Worth Waiting For by DM Needham at most booksellers. Hi, Paloma. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing very well. So you're in, where did you say, Costa Rica?
I'm in Dominican Republic.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's been a long day.
Yeah, for me too.
So have you said you were traveling before we got online. So where have you been traveling to?
So I spent some months in Costa Rica. Most of the time I was traveling around some cities there. And also I went to Salvador. I did a road trip. I crossed country, the US completely from New York to Los Angeles, from East to West Coast. And I'm now visiting the family here in Dominican Republic, and next I'm heading again to the US and then South America.
Wow, that's very, very, very detailed and a lot of traveling.
Yeah.
So, how do I say this? Paloma is actually a sex therapist, but she has a personal story. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of what you do for a living, so tell us a little bit about the recent breakup you had.
Okay, so this last breakup was very tough for me because it was a long time relationship, and it was the more serious that I was in, and actually nothing bad happened, but we kind of fall apart, and I wanted to go travel the world, he wanted to stay. So it wasn't like a breakup for something in particular, but just because different of opinion and different we wanted different things in life. So I think it's it's the first time I end a relationship still loving a person.
And you were a little bit more wanting to be free as far as your sexuality in the relationship, and he didn't really want to go for that, correct?
Yeah, that's another big stone in the relationship.
And doing what you do, so that would kind of have to play. If you weren't going to be happy and satisfied in a relationship fully, then it's not going to work. If you know how to take care of yourself and what you want sexually, that's important.
Yeah, it is. And I agree 100%. Honestly, if you don't share same vision, it's going to be hard to be happy in the relationship.
So tell us a little bit about what you do.
Okay, so I'm a psychologist. I did a bachelor in psychology, and then I entered a master in human sexuality and couple therapy. And I was like working as a therapist for 2 years, and I was like thinking I was having the time of my life. But suddenly it is like it started to not feel right for me because I wasn't feel fulfilled like with my work. So then I decided to switch to coaching and mentoring in sex in relationships. And it has been like the best decision so far of my life because I honestly enjoy my work now, and like I work with women that can accomplish orgasms or that are not happy with their sex life or lack sexual confidence and stuff like that. So now I feel that I'm like doing a transformation in people than before when I was a therapist.
Do you run across a lot of women that I guess their male counterpart, their spouse or their significant other doesn't necessarily make them feel attractive? Is that part of this?
Yeah, it's part of it. Yeah. But most of them like is more like from the inside and not from the outside. Like they need to do the inner work. So yeah, that's where I help them.
When you decided, okay, I'm going to be a sex therapist, how did you go about doing this? Did you just say, okay, I'm not going to be a regular therapist, I'm going to be a sex therapist, and this is what I'm going to do? I'm going to, I mean, do you deal with mainly women only, or do you deal with couples as well? I mean,
okay, so I mostly have like women clients, but I also work with couples. But the thing is that I'm now focusing on more like working with women alone because the stuff that actually brought me to sex therapy was when I was like in psychology and I was seeing some like ladies, even like ladies in their 40 or 50 that told me, I don't know what is an orgasm, and I don't know if I have like have I gone before, or how I like recognize an orgasm. And it was like, wait a minute, like how's that a woman can go through all her life without knowing what's this like. And then I was start to digging inside like in my master and in my practice, and actually like there's a lot of mental stuff that can let a woman to like accomplish orgasm or having like a satisfied sex life, you know what I mean? So like yeah, I think that's the main reason that I decided to do sex therapy and coaching.
well, for a long time, women have been taught that sex is about pleasure for a man. You're supposed to satisfy the man. You're supposed to, dare I say, worship him and make him, feel special, feel like he's the king. If you look back into the United States in the history back like in the 50s, the woman would be the happy little homemaker, meet the guy at the door with the drink in hand, and everything had to be perfect, hair and all. There was never any consideration about a woman being taken care of.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think it's part of our programming. Like we grow up thinking that sex is just for men having pleasure, like just like maybe for having kids and stuff like that. And also like a lot of this is because religion too. I believe like religion plays a big role in like how people create stories around sex. So yeah, I think that's the main. Now we're seeing the results of that, what you are just telling me.
And the thing is, if a woman cannot take care of herself, if she does not know how to please herself, then how can you have a meaningful sexual relationship?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Because it start with you first.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's the thing. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's why I encourage like in sexual healing, that is like my current signature program. I encourage women to like to explore self pleasure, to like actually knows the anatomy, the female anatomy. Most of them like are afraid to look down in their like vaginas because they don't even see themselves like see the vagina as part of them, you know, like there's like a kind of disconnection. And that actually like so sad because the first thing about like a woman having pleasure is to start loving herself, know what she has down there, and touch herself, you know, like explore because that way you're gonna know what stuff you like in bed and what stuff you don't like. So there's a lot of like lack of sexual education that we are dealing with nowadays.
Well, that also goes back to the church of, if you touch yourself, you're going straight to hell, because that's a sin. I mean, that's back to the church teachings of bygone years of, you can't touch yourself, because if you do, okay.
Yeah. I guess that's still some programming that we are dealing with. But it's not true for, like, not at all. Like, no. I don't believe in that. Yeah.
No, neither do I. But it's just one of those things where it's like, you deal with a lot of people. There was a certain person in my life, I will not name names and I will not go there, but I remember asking him, because we were in our 20s at the time, and I asked him, I said, have you ever touched yourself? And he's like, no, that's woman's work. And I'm like, you've never touched? No. And, needless to say, this person and I never did have that big O moment, never, ever. And it was like, okay. But because I cared about the person, I stayed with the person. And I think that has a lot to do with women, is we want that emotional connection. To get that big O, you don't always have to have that emotional connection. But in our society, we are deemed, if you are a woman that is seeking out sex, you are deemed a slut.
Yeah.
But so a man can do the same thing and he is not considered a whore. Excuse my language.
Yeah, that's so true. I always tell that to my clients, to like, it's so crazy how people can see something right in a gender and then like in another, no, it's not right. So yeah, I think that's why most women are afraid to even like show up in bed, because they don't want their partners to think, oh, this is like a slut because she's doing this or she's doing that, or so they just like they start feeling repressed, and like, like they just kill that sexual confidence or that sexual goddess that they have inside.
Well, the same person that wouldn't touch himself, I remember him looking at me one time and saying, well, you don't have a Playboy one. What exactly is, and I'll be blunt. He said, I didn't have a Playboy pussy. I'm going to put explicit on this, so it'll be, but I mean, what is that supposed to mean? They don't even have that because it's photoshopped or airbrushed. So
yeah, I don't even like know what is like a Playboy pussy. No. I think all vaginas are different, and like
I mean, it makes, and that's way too much information for my audience, I'm sure. And it's also, I guess, an opinion of somebody that doesn't really matter, but it's one of those things where it takes your confidence down, because it's like, what does this mean? And am I faulty in some way? And, I got to a conversation with somebody that kids now are looking at porn at 8 years old. If they're looking at porn at 8 years old, they're coming up with the wrong idea of what sex should be.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And even like adults that watch porn, like they actually start to comparing themselves with like these porn stars. And I'm like, you can, because this is just like a show that is all fake. So it's never gonna like, you're just like making yourself feel very vulnerable if you see porn like often.
Mm-hmm. My dog is barking. Cammy, it's okay. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I appreciate, and I've been very frank about my husband. My husband was sick for a long time. And the year before my husband died, there was this toy going around on the internet. The purple toy that had the little sucker and the vibrator. And I read the lovely Amazon review, and he laughed and I laughed, and he goes, you should get that for your birthday. I'm like, okay. My husband was sick, so our intimate life was not there because of his health issues. So I got it. Yes. Yes, I highly recommend that toy. But he was willing to accept that he could not necessarily take care of me, and that something else would do it. It didn't mean that we couldn't be intimate still. It was still part of who we were, and it was part of our life. But there was other ways to take care of things. And I get, being blunt, I will be blunt. I was married to my husband for 16 years and we never consummated because the one time we tried to consummate, his toenail fell off and he had ED. So we tried many times. He even did, and folks, this is going to be blunt. Have you heard of Caverjack?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, for the listeners that don't know what Caverjack is, it's where you inject the needle into your penis to try to keep an erection. So my husband was willing to do that. And I know this is way too much information for anybody out there, but it's a real thing. And when he couldn't do that, that didn't mean that we couldn't be intimate in other ways. So toys came about.
Yeah. And I mean, like, thank you for sharing that. And I actually think that brings some awareness, like, to the audience. And I'm pro sex toys. Like, I believe everybody should have one, because honestly, even like the orgasms are different and you can depend on a person to like give you all the pleasure. So yeah, sex toys are healthy.
It's going to be a different thing. I mean, and there's sex toys for guys too. It's an equal opportunity thing. You know, that's the thing I think most people don't think about. It's like sex toys. If you bring that into the bedroom, you can increase your intimacy. And most people don't think about that. They're like, oh, well, that's all that porn stuff. And no.
Yeah. Or maybe like they think, oh, you're not satisfying your sex life, you're buying sex toys. And I'm like, no, I just want more pleasure.
Well, and I mean, it takes a really, I guess guys may be a little bit more open to it now, but some guys, you mentioned sex toys, they were like, what, you're not getting it from me?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. They start this like, oh, I'm offended.
No need to be offended. It's a totally different. Can you vibrate? Well, I guess you could in certain aspects if you're going down, but other than that.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Sorry to be blunt, but there you go. Anyway, so you have helped women get their first orgasm. Have you had women ask about going into different fantasy roles and BDSM? I mean, is that something that women come to you to discuss, or are you just focusing on that orgasm?
Well, I'm actually lately having some men coming to me about like asking and like wanted to know some suggestions about BDSM. And they want like, I don't know, there's like a shift now, because I'm finding there's a lot of men that want to be like the submissive part, and their woman to be like the, like the, yeah. And I'm like, I'm kind of, wow, how when this changed? Because it's all like always is like the man wants to be like the, like, so yeah, I think people are opening more themselves, like, and also I recommend BDSM a lot. I think it can help heal some like past wounds, and I don't know, it's exciting, it's fun, I like it, I practice too.
Actress Anna Lynn McCord, she was on 90210. She was talking about recently in an article that she had been, I think, sexually attacked when she was younger, and that she was in a relationship with another actor, and they practiced BDSM, and it helped her get past her trauma.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I believe that. And also role playing, I think, is so good for couples. Like most of them, like that has like a long time relationship, and then they bring up role playing. Is kind of like a sexual awakening in the couple. So yeah, I like all that stuff. It seems like fascinating for me to, like to just like being another person in sex in bed, but with your partner, like so interesting.
I'm going to take us on a completely different realm there, because what about tantric? I mean, tantric is a totally different experience than BDSM.
Yeah.
So what is your opinion about tantric? I mean, that's more of a soul connection thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I'm actually doing now a course to be Tantra certified, and I'm learning a lot. I just started, but what I think is that it actually helps people to start being more patient in bed and like have control of themselves. And I don't know, I had like a experience with a girl and a guy together, and we did some tantra like a month ago, and it was so freaking amazing. Like I felt a connection with them both, and even the touch, the breathing, all that. Like I don't know, it's so spiritual and so different from like regular sex. I think everybody should try it.
Back in the 80s, yes, I'm aging myself. Sting, there was a big write-up in Rolling Stone magazine about how he could satisfy his wife for like 18 hours, I believe it was, or some incredible amount of time because he was doing tantric.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was impressive. Everybody was like, man, Sting, wow.
Yeah. Like how lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, at a certain point, when does it get to be too much?
Yeah. That's my question too. Like if you get tired, what you gonna do? Like, okay.
Yeah, can we take a break, honey?
Yeah.
I mean, it's impressive and it's fun, but at a certain point, that's a long time to go. But, of course, could it be exaggerated? Are we taking breaks in between? Then, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now that you have, you're doing this, are you planning on writing a book about this?
I will. I want to. I'm actually like thinking of doing like a little of like novel, but like with a real story behind, like and yes, I will share it with you later.
Okay. Well, I want to share something. I mean, what's interesting to me, because we were talking about double standards earlier, and I do write, and I have 2 books. And the funny thing is, in the first book I wrote, I have the guy cheating on his wife. And I have been told, oh, no, 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 this is a bad thing. Da, 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 da. Okay, fine. Second book, I have a woman cheating on the guy. Oh, that's okay. High five. I'll read that.
Double standard.
But it's about the woman being in control.
Yeah.
And I think what it is, it's too raw for some people to read about a guy cheating. And we've gotten into conversations, a couple of other people I know, about the fact that in rockstar romance, they don't want the guy to cheat. The rock star will not cheat. He will not cheat with groupies. He will not have sex on the road. He will not do any of this. And I'm just like, okay, it's fiction. Yeah, it is fiction. It's totally fiction. But
yeah.
I mean, putting yourself in that position, I mean, you're traveling a lot, and I'm not saying that you're open to that, but when you're traveling on the road a lot and you're meeting different people, and if there's somebody you're attracted to and you have that connection, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think the same. Like you shouldn't settle because like life is one, and that's why I actually support open relationships or like people that are open to experience and other stuff with, because I like to separate sex from love. Like you can fuck a person but don't love them, and you can also like still in love with a person even if you fuck another one. Like it's different stuff.
But see, this is your generation. My generation, my mother, I'll say what my mother instilled in me. My mother was like, well, if a guy says he loves you and he wants you to prove it, then he doesn't love you at all. So it was ingrained in sex and love are the same thing. You are taught that sex and love are the same thing, and it's not. And some people would ask me how I could stay with my husband for as long as I did without that component in our relationship. The fact is I loved him and he was my best friend. Therefore, as long as we had intimacy and other things, and people would look at us, strangers would come up to us and say, wow, you guys are so happy. I mean, people are like relationship goals. So if people believe that, and we didn't have that in our life, it's okay. And I look at it that way. That's one thing, when you look at relationships, when you meet somebody, you have that whole, let me rip your clothes off phase.
Mm-hmm.
And so many times we jump, especially as a younger person, we jump into that situation and think, this is the guy I want to marry. This is the guy I want to spend the rest of my life with. And the fact is, we based it on that sex. We based it on something that eventually is going to possibly, but not always, change and get boring.
Yeah, exactly. And you lose, like, even friends my age, like they can separate sex from love. Like I'm kind of like very liberal in that topic, but yes, like honestly, I agree with you 100%. Like you can even be with a person and love them and not having sex, but that's like the love of your life, and that's your case. And sex is a big component, but like I believe that sex is everywhere, chemistry isn't. So yeah.
I mean, chemistry it's a different thing, and you can have sexual chemistry, but having chemistry with a person where you're going to spend time with them all the time is a completely different animal.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I mean,
Indeed.
there's been people I've been attracted to that I didn't act on because I wasn't secure enough with myself as a person, as a woman. And I didn't feel attractive enough. The person was flirting with me openly, yet I didn't feel enough. I didn't feel confident enough to pursue it, which is crazy. I mean, if the person is openly flirting with you, why not? But
Why
no,
not? Yeah.
but I didn't. So
So well.
shucks darn. Anyway, but I mean, I think that's something that women do. It's the fact that I look this way, but once we get into that position, then I have to take my clothes off, and I know what my faults are and my body looks like. And I don't think that everybody, I think women weigh themselves more on that than anything. That's where that's where it goes back to what you were saying earlier about feeling sexy. If I take my clothes off and I don't feel confident enough and I don't feel sexy enough in my own body, then how am I? That's going to come across. It's not going to come across that I'm a sexual being to the person I'm with. It's going to come across that I'm awkward and shy and feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like there's a lot of mental programming here, because feeling sexy and being like a sexual goddess or being sexually confident has to do a lot with like the self-esteem, but at the same time, like you can even not like yourself, but then you find a person that is like crazy about you, and you're like just like how relative it is, like appearance, you know what I mean? So I believe that if people just change their mindset and start loving themselves, like, and even if you don't, for example, oh, I have a little belly, so go and work out, like feel motivated to do it because it's your body, it's your temple. And yeah, I guess like you can work on that sexual confidence, and it's something that honestly change a lot when people change their mindset.
Well, I mean, if you look at people like Lizzo, Lizzo is very confident in herself. She owns herself. She's not shy about who she is. And I think if we can get the older generation to finally just kind of say, screw it, I'm who I am, instead of being the ideal or norm that we've been taught we should be, would get over it. I mean, that the thing is, I think most people don't realize that at a certain point, when you hit 40, things are going to spread. They're going to sag. It happens. It's life. So enjoy that 20 or 30-year-old body you got, because eventually it's going to go bye-bye.
Yeah.
We never think that when we're that young. We think, oh, I'll be that young, I'll be that skinny and everything forever. And then you hit 40 or 50 and you look back at those pictures and that when you thought you were fat, and you're like, I wasn't that fat.
Yeah. Yeah, that happens a lot.
So not that really has a lot to do with what we're talking about, but in a way it does, because a woman owning herself has to be about owning herself totally. So psychologically, how do you help your clients get to that point where they're not so self-confident or self-conscious?
How I get to the point of being sexual confident?
Yes.
I work like I first start doing some like research in their like childhood memories and like background, and like how even like family dynamic and how they were raised. And then like I encourage them a lot to do mindfulness and meditation, because actually when you start being more present in the moment and less judgmental with yourself, you start to see that It's not about how you look, but how you feel with yourself. So that thing, like changing that, like, for example, I believe when a person is in the like present and more like conscious of their like their environment, I guess they're like as themselves like less lose some meaning. I don't know if like I'm trying to explain myself here, but it's
Okay.
like like when they start being more present in the moment, they start having less thoughts, negative self-talk about themselves. So for example, a lot that there's something that happens a lot when people are having sex, that they start having this like negative thinking on like how he's gonna see me, I'm looking sexy, oh my god, all this fatness. But if they practice mindfulness and start like being more present, they lose all that, all the self-negative talk and all that. And also I recommend always like at least walk and or at least run if you like swimming, if you like lifting weights, or if you like just yoga, like, but do something, because when you do something you feel better with yourself. And even though if you don't make like a physical change, you are changing your mind by doing it. So yeah, I guess mindfulness, working out, having some background like breakthroughs and stuff like that, they change their mindset about how to be sexual confident and stuff like that.
That's good. That's good. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and I guess my question is now, your clients who experience this for the first time, are they able to experience it by themselves with a toy or with a partner? I mean, are you teaching them how to do this by themselves? Or like I said, are they having some kind of help?
So depends the woman, because most of them, the ones that are like currently working, are single. So I teach them like first to doing by themselves. Like for example, if they're struggling, there's like three. I want to bring this up. Like there's three kinds of anorgasmia. Anorgasmia, primary anorgasmia, that is the one that like they can accomplish an orgasm ever in their life. And there's the like secondary anorgasmia that started from a moment in their life that they can accomplish orgasms anymore. And then there is like situational anorgasmia, that is when they can accomplish orgasm with a partner, but they can alone. So most of my clients have situational anorgasmia that can like they can masturbate alone, but they can accomplish with a partner. So I first like try to work with them, and then if they don't have a partner, I encourage them like to have maybe like someone as a like casual sex or something, to see if they actually changing like the behavior with the anorgasmia. So yeah, I think start with them first and then with a person.
As my stepmother once put it, a fuck buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I said, this is going to be under explicit anyway, so
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay, I made you cough. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think that we have a lot of hangups with sex in this country, in the United States. And some, I have a guest earlier this month or in November, who I had her episode's already up, and she's talking about how, firstly, there was the one that she's trying to stop childhood marriages where girls were getting forced into marriage. And then I had another guest who joined a cult. And she was a virgin when she joined this cult, and she was in her 20s. And they had a third party that would mediate a walk, quote unquote walk, which would mean you would either have oral, anal, or penetration in the vagina.
Oh, wow.
But it was all brokered. And she's like, I was a virgin when I went there. And that was part of the reason I went, because I knew that I was awkward and this would kind of, help me with that. And it was just kind of like, okay, I understood. And I mean, it's just an odd thing. And joining a cult, it's really weird because it kind of just takes over your whole life. But Yeah, I mean, it's weird to hear other people's sexual experiences because we think that, oh, everybody's just free and wild, but we are more open to violence, especially in this country, to see violence on TV than seeing a naked woman. God forbid a
Mm-hmm.
child see a naked woman or a breastfeeding woman, because that's just improper. Why?
Yeah. I mean, like, that's so crazy. Even like this stuff about the breastfeeding in public, like, I still don't get it. How in this century, in this year, we are still dealing like with that. I mean,
Well,
so natural.
why are we still not teaching sexual education, and why are we teaching abstinence? I remember back in 1981, I took a sex ed class at a Lutheran school, and the book was called Take the High Road. And the only things that we were taught, because we were given the book, we were not allowed to read the rest of it in the class, was we were taught anatomy. And that anatomy part of the class was taught separately. And
Oh,
then,
wow.
then abstinence was taught. And that was it.
Yeah, and that's the root like of the real problem is like the lack of high quality sex education that we all have. And that's why my first modules of the program is sex education, like even female anatomy, as I say before, like all the stuff that they don't teach, like different kind of orgasms. Nobody teaches that. Nobody
No.
teaches like how to have self pleasure, or like they just like basic stuff that I don't even know if it's worth it. The stuff that they are teaching in schools, like.
And you can't go to your parents in most cases, because your parents are going to look at you like, what? I remember my stepdaughter, she was no longer my stepdaughter at this point, but I had gone down there to talk to her, and she was telling me how her stepdad did not wish for her to get on birth control. Now, she told me she was active, but her stepdad did not want her to get on birth control.
Wow.
Okay, but if you know your kid is active, why not? I mean, as I told her, I would have rather, we go back to the old school teaching here, I would rather have had her wait till she was in love with somebody. But that was already done, and you need to be smart. That's what it comes down to. I mean, I'm not going to deny if I would have been more in the situation, because she was in Texas, if I would have been more in that situation, I would have been like, okay, let's go to the doctor. Let's get you taken care of to make sure you're safe. Because that's something that's going to change your life.
Yeah, definitely. And then like if she got pregnant, then it's her fault, and you're like what?
And then you're forced with another decision to make, because if you get pregnant, then you have the choice of, do I keep the baby or do I have an abortion?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a trauma all in itself.
Yeah, it is.
I'm not saying that abortion is wrong. It's a woman's choice. I totally believe that. But I think that it's a really stressful choice for somebody that is that young.
Yeah, it is. And like I know some women that like how of their lives thinking about it, like, oh my God, like did an abortion, and like kind of fucks them up in the mind for years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've known somebody, they would be like, well, my kid would have been X number of years this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that, people don't realize that it's a trauma. And we don't think about all the little traumas we go through.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's right.
Do you find that some of your clients have been sexually traumatized when they were children?
Yes, most of them. Like they're like, there's a particular relation in like having an unsatisfied sex life in the adulthood, and then like you link with something like a sexual trauma in the childhood, and it's like, oh my God, now I understand why they're acting this way. And most of them like are afraid to talk about the trauma because they don't see themselves as like, oh my God, I'm worthy of that title of sexual trauma. And like when you start digging and know the stories, it's actually a sexual trauma. I'm like, oh my God, it's like so sad that they can even like talk through, because that's the only way of healing, when you talk stuff and vent to someone. But yeah, most of them is because sexual trauma.
Well, I mean, there was my stepfather tried to strangle me. And let me just, it's okay. The only reason I'm bringing this up is for years, I would say that we had a physical altercation. It wasn't until I was in my 40s that I finally said the man tried to kill me. Because the truth of the matter is, when somebody puts their hands around your neck, it's not to bake you a cake. It's not to give you a hug. Unless you're in the sex act and you're asking for that, there's no reason for it. So it took me a long time to process. And that's what you're kind of, you're talking about with these ladies. They don't want to own that because somehow in your mind, you block it because you don't want to admit that, hey, somebody tried to kill me.
Yeah.
And you don't want to admit that, hey, somebody tried to rape me or somebody tried to molest me, because that's, what did I do?
Yeah. Like, it's like negation state. Like, they don't want to accept that. And so sad, because that's the only way of changing the pattern or the behavior. When you accept that you actually had a trauma, or that you actually, like, that person wasn't being nice. I mean, like, it was, like, you were the victim. So yeah, it's like a lot of mindset.
Have you dealt with rape victims or people that have been date raped or anything? And in your experiences, have they been turned off about sex, or have they become more? I mean, I've heard it walks a gamut where you either become very turned off by sex or you become very hypersexual.
Yeah, I have dealt with like hypersexual, like, no, like, they become asexual when they don't want like a lot sex or anything. So yes, when I was a therapist, I was dealing more with that here in DR, because there's a lot of kids that got raped in their houses by like stepfathers, or like even uncles and stuff like that. So that was the hardest part of becoming a sex therapist, because like I used to see these little kids like of 4 years, even 8 years, and they came to therapy and they can even talk about it, because they feel that if they talk about something's going to happen at home, or this person are going to do some damage to their like loved ones of even them. So you have this kid like all out of themselves, like full of fears, and they can't even talk. And it was like so hard for me to treat them, like, because they don't even like, they're not even present. It's like so weird. Like, they just become absent of themselves. You know what I mean? Like empty.
Yeah. I mean, I've been told by several therapists throughout my life that I had all the signs of being a sexual abuse victim from a kid. Yet I have no memory of it. So when you're talking about that, it's like, I don't remember any of that. Now, I've done some meditation and some things have come up, but that's with digging. Without digging, I have no recollection of it. And I have no confirmation and no way to get confirmation. But it's one of those things where you're talking about these women, they don't recognize it. And part of that could be that too, is because they've buried it so deep that they don't want to think about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of different reasons why I think women just don't want to connect with that darkness.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so, I mean, like, it's not easy to be connected to that, I guess.
Well, and, here's when you think about things, we have a very patriarchal society, a patriarchal world, So a woman being empowered and embracing her sexuality and embracing her past of, I was taken advantage of and I did nothing wrong. How hard is that for them to do? How hard is that for them to be able to say, okay, yeah, I didn't do anything wrong. I forgive myself. But how hard is that? Because everything in this world teaches us that a woman is less than.
Yeah. It's part of the programming.
So you have to deprogram your clients then.
Yeah.
Over and over again.
Over and over again. Yeah. That's why, like, I think people don't see the value in this kind of work, but it takes courage to do that.
Now I wanted to demystify this, because everybody back, in the 90s and stuff, when anytime people hear I'm a sex therapist, there's a negative connotation to that. And I'm sure you've heard this, and I'm going to demystify this. some people think that a sex therapist is having sex with their clients.
Yeah. Yeah.
And is that the case? I don't, it's not, but I wonder from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, it's not the case at all. I mean, I have strong boundaries when it comes to my clients, and that's why I like to let me to put this in, like, I had it's funny because now I remember I date a guy that was like asking me how you became a sex therapy and what you say to your parents and what you say, blah blah blah, and I'm like I don't know if this person know what I do, because people see, like, they listen sex therapy and they seem like, oh, maybe she's having sex with all time, and no, like, I'm just treating them like I treat people that have problem in sex. There's like a lot of sexual pathologies and people don't know anything about, but that's my job, to heal and to educate and to help people to get the sex lives that they want, like from a very distance place, you know what I mean? Like, it's not I'm like with them, oh yeah, have sex now and I want to see you, not at all. Like,
I know that. I just wanted to be clear because I know some people listening are most likely like, yeah, she's most likely having sex with her clients. No.
yeah, no.
But I do have to ask this. Since you're talking about sex all the time, does it get rather old in a relationship and everything? And do you just kind of go, I'm not in the mood. I've talked about this all day and I'm just not in the mood.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
So it does affect your sex life.
I mean, currently it's not affecting my sex life because, like, as I say, I like to, what I notice about people is when I'm dating a guy and I say I'm a sex therapy, that kind of intimidate them. So I try to put that like in the second date or something, and then but like, I'm actually dating a very open-minded guy now, and he has been like so positive in this journey with me, like talking professionally, because he's so open-minded and like he encouraged me so much. So yeah, I mean, like, I'm feeling good at this moment about that.
Good. I mean, it's just, it's one of those things where occupational hazard, like the person who does a certain job all the time, they don't want to talk about it when they get to the house. So that's why I was asking. I know it seems like a ridiculous question, but if you're talking about sex all the time, it's like, okay, However, though, it could be very beneficial if you know all this stuff going into a relationship and you know what can please him and what can please you, and you can tell him exactly what you need.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, it's always interesting because I know all the positions and
spin the wheel of Karma Sutra.
Yeah.
Positions, toys, and all sorts of different things. Let's try this tonight, honey.
Exactly.
What's wrong with that? Variety is the spice of life.
It is.
So I do have, one thing that I do know for a fact is that depending on where you're at, condoms are different too. The basic design is the same, but the packaging is different. At least it was back in the 80s. Because I met a gentleman from Australia and the condoms were like a little rectangular thing. At least the foil package. And then they came.
Oh, wow.
It was very weird. And that's TMI for most of my listeners, but hey, there you go. I will say this much. That was an older man, and that older man said to me, he's like, it is my job to please you.
Oh.
Yes. I was 19 and he was 36, and all he wanted to do was please me. And well, yeah,
Yeah. Get it, girl.
Not something I'm proud of, but then again, it was a very good time. So, and you'll only live once.
Yes.
And we were practicing safe sex, so there you go. But I think it's important though that we have these moments, because here's the thing. While that was fun, there was some guilt attached to it. And that's where I think for the older generation, there is still that guilt sometimes attached to sex.
Yeah, I agree.
And what's your best advice for detaching sex and love? Because I'm not saying everybody should go screwing around. I'm not condoning everybody just let's go screw. But if you're attracted to somebody and you want to, and how do you get past that whole thing of, I want to respect myself in the morning, but I don't love this person, but I'm sure hot for them.
I think honesty plays a big role here, because like what I'm pro is that if you, for example, if you are in that case that you feel attracted to someone and you just like love this person, but you don't feel like that much of attraction or even like the novelty. So I guess if you open like yourself to communication and communicate this like in a very honest way, but trying to be like careful with words, I guess that person like this, like I don't know, I mean, like you need to be honest. Like I prefer a person come clean to me and telling me, hey, I like this girl, I want to fuck her, but I love you, instead of this person not telling me anything, go fuck the person I don't know anything about, and then I found out. Like, so that's why I'm like more pro to open relationships that been cheating, because people are gonna cheat anyway. Like people like, I don't believe in monogamy. Like I don't believe we are like monogamous creators. So I guess that people needs to start training themselves to see that anything, like nothing is yours. Like there's a role in here that people don't want to see another person, like a person they love having sex with another person, because they think this person is mine and I'm his owner and blah blah blah. But actually you don't owe anything in this world. Like you just, like, even when you die you left the body. So you start to you need to start like changing the mindset if you like want to have like an honest relationship. And honesty, like honestly, I'm at that moment now, like I'm meeting this guy and I'm like, all this stuff that I'm telling here, I have already talked with this person. And in my previous relationship, my breakup, like I couldn't even have like this kind of conversation, because it was like not even an open or even like a vulnerable space for me to be that honest. So I guess you should like look for a person that has your same like level of self-awareness and open-minded to like accomplish this.
I've had a couple of people on the show, and I know a couple of people that have tried open relationships. And the people that I've talked to, I have one woman I know, and she's been okay with her open relationship since she has a strong, solid marriage. However, some guys that I've known, they say it was the ruination of their marriage, that it cost
wow.
them. And the relationships ended. And both the people that I know, they ended up in better relationships. But they will say that an open marriage is the worst thing in the world.
Wow.
So, I mean, and that's coming from a guy, so, which is really odd. You wouldn't expect that.
Yeah. Most, yeah, that's true. But I guess like you need, there's some stuff that you need to do. Like you need to have boundaries, rules, and like you need to communicate the fears and the intentions by opening the relationship. And like, yeah, I mean, like, for example, I have a couple that they just, for example, they don't let the other partner to sleep over with the person, like, and you need to use condom. Like there's some rules that you can use that might keep the stuff like safe. But if you do it like like open without not even rules, like you can fuck up the relationship for sure.
Well, and one thing I was going to say is the situation I was talking about a few minutes ago, it's not necessarily that you're in a relationship with somebody, just the guilt of I slept with somebody. It's not that even you're in a relationship. I mean, that's something that we as women are taught certain things, and we're not supposed to be out there messing around having fun, because once again, it goes back to you're the slut.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how would you tell a woman, would you tell a woman just to be honest with herself, or just to get over that and that you're being true to your body?
Yeah, I think let's go back, like when you say you only live once, like
Mhm.
for real, like okay, for example, if you die tomorrow, did you fuck all the people that you needed to fuck?
That's a lovely way to put it. There's a t-shirt for you.
Yeah. I mean, like, just ask yourself that, because I think sex is a very important part of ourselves, like in life. Like, we are sexual beings, and we all have like a sexual self, and our sexual self is very narcissistic. We all wants to be touched. We all want to be like told, oh, you are the goddess, the hottest, or this stuff. And when you have like a long relationship, you start to loosen that if you like don't communicate and stuff. Like, so why you put yourself in a position of forcing of being monogamous when you are not created to be monogamous? So like, you're just forcing a stuff. You are not going with nature.
And that's, one thing I was going to say about my husband and I, we were very open with our communication for the most part. We would talk what needed to be said. Now, as he got sicker, I don't think he let me know everything that was going on with him, but we talked about things that were important. And I think that's where a lot of people they don't communicate anymore.
That's so true. Yeah.
And I mean, if they do, let's text each other.
No way. Yeah. No.
And I will say this, you were talking about wanting to be beautiful and everything. Nothing bothers me more than having someone slip into my DMs on Twitter, even Pinterest and Goodreads now, of hello, gorgeous, hello, beautiful. Really? Really?
Yeah.
No, sorry. And
Yeah. Next. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not looking for that. And why not say hi? If you say hi, maybe I'll talk to you. But to start right out the gate with some kind of superficial compliment, it's just like, no.
Yeah, that happens for me too. Yeah, like even with they say a lot with the don't send like a dick pic in like in the like that's like a deal breaker for me. Like, I will block people just for that.
Well, last night, okay, so I was listing stuff on Facebook to sell, and some guy's like, I'm interested in this. Can I get your phone number? And I'm like, and I have a picture of my dog for the profile. So it's not even that you can see my face. And I'm like, why do you need my phone number? He's like, so I can see your mother's pussy. And I'm like, really?
Oh my God.
Yeah. I'm like, what are you, 12? I didn't say anything. I just deleted it. I'm just like, are you 12? It's Halloween. Is this the new prank? I mean,
Yeah. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
But that's the internet for you. What can I say? So is there
Yeah.
anything you would like to add to our lovely, interesting conversation?
I think I have talked a lot. I have enjoyed this conversation a lot, for real.
Good. Well, I thank you for your time. Well, guys, I'm sorry if I was a little TMI, but my husband would have been honest about it too. And I will say this, if you've stuck around to this point, the needle that he was supposed to use was not a little itty bitty needle. It's a pretty thick needle. And for him being willing to do that, to have relations with me, was a pretty big deal, because I was mortified when he did this, and I wouldn't recommend anybody doing it. But that being said, I think that women, as we were talking about in there, women should own their body. They should learn about their body. We don't teach people in this country or in the world really about the feminine body. We don't teach pleasure. And I'm not saying that everybody should just go screw everybody, but I think that people should be open to who they are. And if a toy is going to help you, then a toy helps you. And if your man or your woman helps you, then that works too. However it plays out, as she said, we're sexual beings. We have that urge, we have that need, and it's okay as long as it's consensual. Let's keep that in mind, because I don't want anybody misconstruing this. It has to be consensual. But there are many ways to handle things. And as we discussed, role playing, bondage, tantric, there are all sorts of different ways to handle things and to spice up your life. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. It was an interesting one for sure. And like I said, I apologize if it was TMI. but that's life. And if you guys, as always, can learn something from what I went through or what my guests went through, then that's what the show's about. So if you want to follow the podcast, go to www.better2podcast.com. If you want to drop me an email and go, oh my gosh, I can't believe you shared that. The email is donna@better2podcast.com. We also have all our social links on the website, and you can follow the video portion of this, if you care to, on YouTube under Better 2 Podcast. So thank you guys for tuning in as always, and thank you for your support. We do have a Patreon account. If you decide to join, that would be awesome. And if not, you can at least leave us a review on Podchaser or on Apple. So I hope you have a wonderful evening. Take care, guys, and catch you next time. Bye. You are listening to the Better 2 Podcast with DM Needham.